Blog Talk Radio.
This is Dennis Miller, and you are listening to On Guard in Oklahoma, the official show for the men and women of the Oklahoma National Guard, their families, and volunteers.
Oh, good morning, Dennis. Thank you so much. You know what? You welcome us every time we do a show, and I just want to thank you so much for welcoming us. Good morning, everybody. It's been a hectic morning already this morning. It's rainy outside. It's a beautiful spring day, but it's rainy. Our prayers go out, number one, down to the people down in Texas, around the Dallas area for all the tornadoes that hit down there. My name is Lloyd Smith, and I'm with the Survivor Outreach Services Office here in Oklahoma City. We have a full-packed show today. We've even allotted some extra time. We have Tracy Poindexter. She's on the line. We have Bonnie. She's there. Beth is here. We have special guests. It's just going to be a fantastic, and we've got some interesting information for everybody this morning, and it's really going to be fantastic. Good morning, Tracy, Bonnie, and Beth.
Good morning. How are you doing? Actually, it's Jennifer, not Bonnie.
I mean, Jennifer. I'm sorry, Jennifer. No, Bonnie's there. No, Bonnie's there, too, and I forgot Jennifer.
Oh, is Bonnie
Jennifer's
there, too? Oh, you just forgot me. I get
Bonnie,
it.
I just forgot you. I'm looking down my list, and I apologize. But Jennifer's here. We're in studios A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. We are spread out this morning.
Everywhere, yeah. Okay, so, guys, I'm starting off by saying, since you never seem to send the donuts or chocolate my way, I got my own this morning. So there, chocolate-covered donuts. Does it get any better?
Only if you're eating them in Oklahoma.
Well, that's true. That would make it the best.
and we have one more guest we're trying to get on board, and
yes,
his name
ready.
is Michael. He's ready. All right. Well, I'm dialing him right now. And we're going to have, hello, Michael. Hey, you're on the air. My name's Lloyd, and we're going to introduce everybody here in just a minute. So we've got you on the air, and I'm going to turn this over to Beth. Hi, Miss Beth. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well, Lloyd. Thanks so much. You're like the best engineer, the best show engineer. The best voice. Even my husband says, wow, how did you snag him? He's got the voice. Hey, I just wanted all of you people in rainy Oklahoma to know that it was 98 degrees here yesterday. So aren't you glad you're missing out on all the wonderful heat here?
That's just a little bit warm
the
for this
valley.
time, isn't it?
It is warm. It is warm. Over the weekend, it was over 100, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah, and our power went out. Like, I'm not a happy camper. I don't do heat really well. I'm a baby.
I don't either.
You know, I'm a nor'easter. Give me snow, not 100-degree weather. Goodness gracious. Goodness. Okay, having said that, I'm going to jump in and kind of get us started. Well, Tracy, did you get your email?
I did, and sending it out right now.
All right. Well, I'm going to kind of just get us started here. As you know, On Guard in Oklahoma is very dedicated in bringing resources, information, opportunities, events that will enhance our lives as military families and as Guard and reservists. And that's really one of the big mission statements of our show. But we also need to reiterate that having people on our show does not mean that we are endorsing them. We just want to present to you all the information. So we want to make sure that you know that when they appear here, it's not On Guard in Oklahoma endorsing, it's not the National Guard Bureau or Oklahoma National Guard or even the DOD. But we are very careful as to who we put on the show so that you can rest assured that we have done our due diligence to make sure that they're good people. Okay, Tracy, jump in here.
Well, I just wanted to say all the allergies have got us going on here in Oklahoma, so my voice is really scratchy. So if you don't recognize me, this is Tracy. I am the Senior First for the Oklahoma National Guard, an MPSC employee. And I work here with Family Programs, and today we'd like to welcome to the show this morning Military Housing Assistance Fund. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Mr. Errol Anderson?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Operations Director, Mr. Michael DiMorado.
Correct.
Okay, thanks. He is the loan officer, and Mrs. Deanna Raber,
yes.
Partner Okay, and she partners with them in the as a real estate agent. Welcome to the show today, and thank you for joining us this morning. I know it's probably a little earlier there for you than it is for us, because when we were trying to get a hold of Michael a while ago, no, it's Deanna. She's like, I'm on my way in. We've already been here for a couple of hours, and we've already had our coffee, so please feel free to get your coffees and donuts if you still need them.
Well, I'm going to jump in and say, Errol, and full disclosure, I know these people, and a little bit later you'll hear as to why I personally know them. But, Errol, I want to start with you. What is the Military Housing Assistance Fund, and how did this get started?
Well, Military Housing Assistance Fund basically was set up to try to help make it easier for clients to purchase a home, and we help military guard reserves and veterans. Back in 2003, the founder, he's ex-military, Air Force, and did really well in life. He's done really well in life, and he wanted to give back. And in just a conversation with one of his partners, a Canadian partner, oil partner, he was talking to the partners. The partner's daughter, who is a military spouse, was trying to purchase a home and having a rough time. They have 3 children. The husband is the only one that worked, and she was basically saying, it's so tough to purchase a home. It's not, all this money that we have to come up with, and they expect, we have to pay the earnest money, and then closing costs usually. 3% of the purchase price of the property. So using easy numbers, easy calculation, a $200,000 home, that's $6,000 that they're expected to write a check for. And she was basically just saying, wouldn't it be nice? It would be nice if somebody out there did something for us to help us. Basically, he took that idea and ran with it and launched Military Housing Assistance Fund. And the idea behind MHAF is to just try to help take away some of the financial burden. Try to make it a little bit easier for the client to purchase a home. Try to minimize the out-of-pocket expenses as much as possible. And that's how Military Housing Assistance Fund got started. And within, and they developed it for a year and launched on September 9th, 2004, 9/11. And
wow.
within sorry, go ahead.
No,
yeah.
I was just saying, wow, I didn't realize that was the date. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so it took them a year to develop it, put it together, and launch it. And within 6 months, we literally had people from families from 30 states tearing down the doors. Please help us. Please help us. This is great. And that's when the Department of Defense stepped up and said, hey, love what you guys are doing. Started asking questions about how the program works, and basically we help out with some funds towards their closing costs. It's a free grant that they never have to repay, and the services are absolutely free, cost them nothing. We're just here to help. That's how MHAF got started.
Wow.
So, hi, this is Jennifer Lane, and I work for the Air National Guard here in Oklahoma City. And I understand that military families are behind in home ownership. How can you guys, how can MHAF assist the military in purchasing a home?
Yes. Well, statistically, from the RAND Corporation, 66% of all Americans own a home. And brace yourself, 27.3% of military families own a home. And that was a major driving force behind the success of MHAF because, obviously these people who put their lives on the line for us every day, they need this assistance. But for some reason, why nobody was doing anything to help before, is beyond me. There are organizations out there that were helping. For one, there was a program called the Nehemiah program that the Fannie Mae had going. But and they helped out, yes. But the problem, and this is why Nehemiah got shut down, is that Nehemiah. So, there are only certain sources that the funding can come from to help with closing costs. You can get it from a family member, your own funds that have to be seasoned, or you can get it from an organization like MHAF. Now, the problem with the Nehemiah program was that they were giving these people, they say, you need $2,000 to help close your house, no problem. Here's $2,000, but it has to be repaid within the next 48 hours, plus you have to pay a $500 administrative fee just to use that money for 48 hours. So essentially what they would do is raise the price of the house, and then at closing get the money back, and the seller pays it back. And the government said, yeah, that's not really, I mean, that's a great business plan, I mean, you know, but it was not really helping the families. They're pretty much paying the money back, and basically you pay this money back, but you pay $500 for 48 hours just to borrow the money. Well, MHAF was giving the funds. It was a free grant. They never have to repay, and the funds, you never have to pay an administrative cost. That was it. And so MHAF, again, you know, looking at the statistical information with regards to the number of military families that own homes, and there are millions of people in our armed forces, and 27.3% of them own a home. This was a great opportunity for MHAF to shine, and this is when the Department of Defense said, hey, we're going to make you guys partners, and we're going to help you get funding, and pretty much, you know, how MHAF essentially, the idea here is to try to help them get their transaction closed with them paying as little of their out-of-pocket expenses with regards to closing costs as possible, or if we can get it down to zero, that's the real mission.
Okay, and it sounds like a fantastic program. And of course, I know we all have a bunch of questions. Of course, one thing is how does this work? And I think the bigger question is who's eligible for this program, and then what is the process? You know, for us, and again, you're talking to a whole big body, you know, between Jennifer and Tracy and you know Beth being a recent retiree. I work with the families of deceased soldiers. So you know who can participate in this? Who do you consider a military family?
Military, Guard, Reserve, veterans, and when we say veterans, we mean those who have retired. Just because you're not doing the job presently doesn't mean you shouldn't get the assistance. You've done the job. You've set the way for everybody else. You've paved the way. So military, Guard, Reserves, veterans, and civilian employees of the military.
What about the families of deceased soldiers? Families of
deceased soldiers. You know, I have never seen a case where the family, and that's probably a great question, because there are probably families out there that have never called in because they figured, well, you know, we're a family of a deceased soldier, so we're not eligible. But you know, I honestly feel like as a part of a family, a military family, you've done your duty worrying about that soldier. I don't see why we couldn't get that pushed through. Honestly, I've never had to deal with one of those. I've never heard of us dealing with one of those. And whenever strange cases come around and an agent is dealing with it, you know, if it gets tough, they would usually call me, and we'd sit around and try to figure it out. But I've never actually heard of a situation where a family of a deceased soldier is called in. But if they did, I really don't see why we would not get that done for them. That would be silly not to. They've played their part.
And in many cases, a lot of times, these families, because of the memories and stuff like that, will move to another house, you know, and that depends. But what is the process to get all this started? I mean, what is it they need to do to get this started?
Well, you know, they can go to our website. Usually, you know, in the housing offices, you know, we've tried getting our brochures into as many housing offices across the country as possible. We do have account executives that do get our stuff into the different bases. But if they were to see the brochure, they can easily call the number on the brochure, which is 720-932-8049, or they can log on to the website, which is www.usm, as in mom, H as in Harry, A as in Apple, A as in Frank, F as in Frank.org, usmhaf.org. So they can call in, or they can send an email, and either way they'll be contacted, and an agent will be assigned to work with them. And the next step in the process is basically to make sure that they can qualify for a mortgage, and that's where Mr. Michael DiMorato comes in. We have financial partners like himself, and he's on this show because he's probably the best that we have in our network. And we would set them up with a lending team who has been trained specifically to work with the program, so they know that they're getting the best of the best. They're not just getting a lending team who is just treating them as another client. There are guidelines, and they take great care of these clients. And then after that part, then they'll get set up with a real estate agent like Miss Diana Raber, and the process is complete. They have 3 teams working with them. They will have their lending team on one side and the real estate agent on the other side, but they will always have their agent from MHAF in the middle all the way through to the process to closing. And the idea here is to provide the best customer service that we possibly can. Whenever there's an email or a phone call or any questions they have answered, there's one of three that will be jumping over each other just to try to answer that for them. We're all about making sure the clients are as happy as possible with regards to their process purchasing their home.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
So, and I'm looking at your website right now, and it has some great information on it. So, basically, they can either call you or go to the website to get further information.
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic.
And either way, they can fill out the contact form, and they'll be contacted that way, or they can make a phone call, and the agent will respond to them immediately.
Okay.
Well, that sounds great. It sounds like y'all put just like a lot of time, that you have a whole crew of people just putting a lot of time and effort to show their appreciation for our military families, and thank you for that. Mike, this is Tracy. I do have a question for you. This is kind of from the loan processing side. Not everyone has a really good credit score out there. Things happen. They don't have that perfect score, but, they're still wanting to buy a home. Is there anything that you can help with the qualifying, whether with the debt reduction, and these sort of things, and does these things apply to the VA loans?
Well, I guess let me kind of start, because there's a lot of confusion, because veterans, they go onto the VA website and they read about their guidelines and about their eligibility, and they read one thing, and then when they call in, they hear something else from different lenders. And one of the things that VA does allow is VA allows veterans to purchase a home, even if they had no credit score or even if they have low credit scores. There's really no credit score requirement for a veteran to purchase a home. And the thing that where veterans get confused is that when they call into a bank, the banks do put on what they call their overlay, which is usually around a 600 to a 620 credit score. And the reason for that is because the VA is almost like a big insurance company. They are insuring these loans for the veterans in case of default. And what happens is the banks are actually the ones loaning the money. And if the bank defaults too many times, it's their insurance, they lose their insurance, and then they can't originate VA loans anymore. So what the banks are doing to protect themselves is putting these enhanced guidelines above and beyond what the VA puts on. So there is a minimum credit score, which is usually somewhere between 600 and 620, depending on which lender you use. And what happens is if your score isn't there, we have techniques and tools that we can do, that we could use to help you get your score there. And sometimes it's a 2-week process through a tool we call a rapid rescore, and sometimes it's a 6-month to a year process, depending how bad the credit is or the lack of credit, because sometimes a veteran will be deployed for a year or two and there'll be no use of any credit, which can and then lose a score. And then we have to reestablish a score, and that's one of the things that we do. We will help the veteran get a score and help set him up with a company to heal his credit if there is some issues or if his score is too low to purchase a home. And a lot of times veterans, what are we looking for when we're looking at a VA loan? We're looking for, is this a one-time situation where your credit was screwed up? If it is, then we could work around that. What we don't want to see is patterns of over and over again. So, yes, there are very easy ways to get the score up, and we do help assist with that as well.
So that sounds awesome. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tracy.
Go ahead, Jennifer. No, it's okay, because I just lost my thought.
Well, because I interrupted you. This is Jennifer again. I wanted to ask Deanna, I'm curious to know, how did you as a realtor get involved with MHAF?
Well, I got involved because I wanted to help an individual that I believed would qualify for that program. I wanted to work with her and her husband find their home. And so I kind of went the circassious route, but that's how I got involved. I heard about the program about a year and a half ago, but I didn't have all the answers at that time. So that's how I got involved.
So my next question, are there only certain homes that qualify for this program? Are there homes that wouldn't qualify?
You know, if they are a home, and there are several homes out there that are fixers, that will not qualify for VA funding. The home has to be in reasonably good shape with not a bunch of lender-required repairs, because in this market of limited home inventory, the sellers oftentimes don't do a lot of repairs to get them financeable for the Veterans Administration loan.
Okay.
I can help out with that answer as well.
Okay.
With regards to the program itself, there are no restrictions on the type of home that a family can purchase. They can purchase, and there's not a list of homes that they have to choose from. There is no restrictions, no list. What Deanna is saying is that with regards to their financing, there are certain homes that won't qualify just for the financing. The VA, usually, our clients, 90% of the clients are going to use their VA loans, and the VA guidelines are such that they will only allow you to purchase a home that meets certain livable guidelines. So it cannot be a fixer-upper. It cannot be beat up. They want the home to meet certain criteria inspection-wise before they allow the funds to be used to purchase a home like that. So there are no restrictions on the type of homes that the program will help you purchase. You can purchase whatever you want.
Okay.
It's just that the finance, yeah.
So it just basically depends on its condition, its overall condition. If it's got condition issues, then it will not qualify. But that's one that the buyer usually would decide that they didn't want to buy anyway.
Right.
Yes, and can I jump in on that from
Sure.
a lender standpoint? And from a lender standpoint, on VA loans, a lot of times work needs to be done, or we find out afterward the fact. And VA does allow a house with repairs as long as the veteran doesn't pay for the repairs. To piggyback on what Deanna said, because certain parts of the world, housing isn't selling as quickly. So as long as the seller is willing to pay for those repairs, it's okay to be fixed prior to closing. It's just that the veteran is not allowed to pay for it.
Okay. Good.
And I have one question. Okay, and if someone decides not to use a VA loan, or maybe it's already been used or something, you can still help them? They don't have to just be using their VA loan. Is that
they
correct?
Can use whatever yes, they can. There are no restrictions. They can use whatever loans they want. And just to I was asked a question earlier about by Lloyd, I think, about eligibility requirements and families with deceased families of deceased veterans. One of the team members sent me a message here saying that we did help a family in Oklahoma. Her husband was killed in line of duty, and we helped her last year.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay.
Yeah, just so you know. Don't want to say her name. I don't know if I'm supposed to. I can't do that or not. But
no, we want to keep everyone's information private.
Yes. So a family, a military spouse in Oklahoma, we helped her last year. So yes, we do.
Awesome. Errol, or maybe Mike, I'm not sure who to throw this out to, but where does the money come for this program? Where does it come from?
That would be a question for me. The funding from MHAF, the funds that we give to the clients, any private individual or private company can donate money, and we give the money right back to the clients. That's the cool thing about it. We give 100% back to the clients. We have gone after money from the Economic Development Initiative grant from the DOD, which was offered to us when we became partners with the DOD back in 2004. Fannie Mae has sent us money, which I was very surprised about that donation to us because they were the ones behind the Nehemiah program we discussed earlier. and they sent us money. So we can get money from, we go after grant money in any direction we can, but any private individual, anybody can give us $10 or $1,000. Anybody, usually when it comes to tax times, usually people, we get a lot of calls. People are donating money, but yes, we get money from any source possible, private company, private individuals, grant funding, federal grant funding. We go after it all, and we give the money right back to the clients.
Awesome.
That's just outstanding. All right, now, as we try to keep things personal and private, but yet, Beth, didn't you just move into a house?
I did.
And?
And I told Scott this morning, my husband, I said, I'm not sure if I can talk about this without just blubbering the whole way through it. For any of you who think that homeownership is just totally far beyond your wildest dreams, I just want to say that that's where we were. Scott said, let's buy a house instead of renting. And we were active duty. We moved 11 times in 10 years. Buying a house was never an option. And I thought we'd have to come up with, thousands and thousands of dollars for down payment and closing costs, and I could not see how it would ever happen for us. But Scott had a lot of faith for it, and we started researching, started looking at homes, and I stumbled on the MHAF website, and I thought, I don't know, and Scott started researching them, and he said, just contact them and let's just see. And in the meantime, we were still looking for houses. Anyway, so I actually heard from Errol first and was so amazed that I didn't have to pay to be a part of this program. And I was really it was very awesome. And then I was very amazed at when Errol said that there's a team that surrounds you, he meant it, and I experienced it. Errol was part of my team, Mike DiMurano was part of my team, and Deanna was part of my team. And I'm a newbie, and so I had a lot of stupid newbie questions. Every time I emailed anyone with a question, I got answers back immediately. They made the loan process so, let's face it, guys, getting a home loan is a painful process. And I'm here to tell you that Scott and I did have a ding on our credit. Mike walked us through that, and we started this whole process the first week of January. We moved into our house on March 8th, and Deanna helped us find a home that just made me, I'm happy every morning. I wake up in my home. Yes, it's a construction zone because we're doing a lot of work in it, but it's a work of love. And it's all because MHAF took the burden of those closing costs off of our back. That was going to be the straw that broke our ability to move into this house. And MHAF took that whole burden off. We put down our earnest money. Errol, am I allowed to tell you what I got from you guys 2 weeks ago?
Sure.
We got into our house. Our closing costs, at closing, we had to pay $800. That was it. And 2 weeks ago, I got a check in the mail from MHAF for $1,000. So basically, they paid us $200 to move into our new home. And I don't know where the $1,000 came from. All I know is that they reimbursed what little bit we had to put down for closing costs. And I'm sitting in a beautiful home in a neighborhood that I love, all because of Mike's hard work to fix our ding, to get us approved, and Deanna's work. It was really hard for me to choose a house, and Deanna is so knowledgeable. I'm so impressed with the team that MHAF has put together. Michael is one of the best loan officers. I've heard from other people now that he's just top-notch, one of the best. Deanna is so well respected in this community. Now that I live here, I hear her name all the time, and this is who MHAF has partnered with. It's just the top of the line, and I got world-class service, and I'm sitting in a home I love.
I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy
that
for you
awesome.
and you. And
it was our pleasure, Beth. It was our pleasure.
Our pleasure. So happy for you. Yeah.
There was so
Y'all
much
make me
want to
buy a new house.
I know, me too.
I just want to go buy a new house now. Yeah.
Just so I can work with these people.
I know it. Let's go house hunting, Jennifer.
I just want to encourage you, if you are in that market, if you've always said, I can't do this, we'll never be able to afford our own home, just explore the option. DOD is partnered with MHAF. They, just explore the option with them. Go to their website. You'll see that my testimony is not the only one. There are people who have written many, many testimonies on their website about their experience, and I just cannot say what an incredible blessing it is to move into this new season of our life, owning a home. It's just beyond my dreams.
That's great. And
one of the things to keep in mind, if anybody wants to go to our site to go check it out, there is a under the very first tab, I think it's home. There is a little presentation that kind of goes over what it is that we do for you guys, and there is a photo on there with the founder. The photo was taken at the Pentagon with the Secretary of Defense, at the time, we back in 2004. It was Donald Rumsfeld who gave us the opportunity to be the company that we are today. And so we left the photo of him and the founders at the Pentagon up on our website out of respect. He's the one that said, hey, you guys are doing a great job, and it's through him that I feel like we've become the company we are today. And so you can go on there and you can see the photos, and you can, the little presentation kind of goes through what we do for you and how we do it. And we put that on there so you can, we try to get as much information on the site as we possibly can. So just go check out the site and,
So, Errol, can you give us that website again and the phone number again while we're talking about that?
The phone number is 720.
Hold on. Can I interrupt just for a second? I'm getting a couple of emails and texts. No, it's okay. But they can't hear our guests very well. So maybe if you could speak more into your phones or maybe a little louder,
okay.
they might be able to hear better.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
The phone number for Military Housing Assistance Fund is 720-932-8049, and the website is www.us, M as in Mom, H as in Harry, A as in Apple, F as in Frank.org. So that's www.usmhaf.org. And you can fill out the contact form, and an agent will call you that day within a couple of hours. Or you can make a phone call, and you will be connected with an agent that day. Within if an agent, if you have to leave a message, it's fine because we literally take about 200 calls a day. But your message will be responded to within the hour.
So I have one follow-on question. I'm sorry. So do you work in every state?
Yes, we work in all 50 states.
Nice. Okay.
And then could I just jump in so veterans are aware of something that as well too, so it doesn't hinder them to call in. Using your VA benefits is not a one-time thing. You can use your VA benefits multiple times. So just because a veteran has used his benefit before purchasing a home, that doesn't mean he can't use it again. And even if he already has a VA loan currently, he can still get another VA loan. And even if he's defaulted on his first VA loan through a foreclosure or a deed in lieu or a short sale, he's still eligible for VA benefits to purchase a house again. Now, these are things that are very unknown, but they're out there, and because veterans have a basic entitlement and something called bonus entitlement, where they could have multiple properties at one time.
Oh wow!
I didn't know all of that.
Yeah, and most veterans don't, and because they're not educated, they don't teach them that. They don't let them know that, but that's what we do. We let them know that. So a lot of veterans call and say, well, I can't use my VA benefits because I've used it before, or if I owe the VA money because I defaulted on a loan. And there's ways where we can still get you your certificate of eligibility, and you can still use your VA loan to purchase another home.
Okay, well.
Okay, so do you see why I love these people?
Yeah, they're great.
The knowledge that we got from them was wonderful. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I got a question. Okay, so if we're going to be purchasing a home or, just can you give me what the average timeline is for the program or for that purchase? Or is it just an individual, is it going to just depend on the individual purchase?
Well, if from the normal time frame for purchasing a home, I'll say, guys, help me out. I'll say 8 weeks. If somebody started today and they get everything going, the normal. With MHAF, it's no different in the sense that when they call in with us, we can work with the client as fast as the client wants to, or as slow as the client wants to. We work at their pace. Because when a client calls in today and they speak with an agent and they say yes, because they go through a little orientation with an agent, go over the entire program, exactly what it is that we do, and they say yes, we want to move forward. Then we set them up with their lending team. Now it's up to them if they want to get information to the lending team that day or a week from today. So it's really up to them. And obviously the process for finding your home and then choosing the home, that's all dependent on the availability of properties in your area, et cetera, and your time with working with your agent. Our agents we choose our agents very, very carefully, and they usually they put their best foot forward with regards to trying to make sure that their schedule works with the client's schedule, and so. It all depends on how fast the client wants to move. We've had people that are saying, I have to PCS and be in this state in 2 months. Can you guys help me get into a house? I put a team on it, and as fast as the client wants to move, the agents will move. And then there are the clients that will say, well, I'm not in a hurry. I would like to be in my house in 4 months. Yeah, no problem. Well, the normal process can easily take 2 months, from the moment you start to the moment you close on your home. And in Michael and his team, with the prime lending team, I've seen cases where people have come to us saying, I'm in a crunch, I really need to get into my house in 45 days, I've not, blah, 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 and we're like, whoa, that's not much time. And I will make a call to Michael and say, look, if you can, Michael has been, basically what I'm trying to say is Michael has been given less than 30 days sometimes. I'm not saying that this is what is practiced. I'm not saying that he wants people to be putting him in this situation. But it's happened where Michael has, I don't know how he's done it, and clients and agents have called me to say, where'd you find this guy? I'm like, yeah, he's good, him and his team. He has closed loans within 30 days, and I've been amazed, And so with regards to how... Yeah, sure.
Yeah. We were living in a hotel, and we were robbed twice. We were living in one hotel, got robbed, and thought, oh, my gosh, we got to move. It's not a good area, even though we thought it was. We moved to another hotel while we were, in this process, because Scott had started his job, and his car was broken into and robbed again. Wow. And I wrote Deanna and said, is there any way, do you think that do you remember this, Deanna? Is there any way we could get in? We've been robbed a second time. I'm about to lose it. And the next thing I know, Deanna talked to Michael, and the next thing I know, I get this call from Deanna that says, you want to move in day after tomorrow? And Michael had pushed through. Michael, I don't know how you did it, but we closed, and we were in our house in 2 days after that. Michael, I don't know what you did, but he is. I know you're not saying put me in that position, but for an emergency, I was just so blessed and blown away at what the two of you accomplished.
Well, I appreciate that, and granted, I don't like being in that situation, but I love to help. And the loan process, as you could probably tell, has gotten so much more. There's so much more red tape, and we used to be able to close a loan in 7 days, and then at one time it was taking 60 days to close a loan. But now, with the team that we have in place and the type of company that we have, I mean, literally, since it's so localized and it's not a centralized operation, it's so localized in our office, we could push a file through in 2 weeks to 3 weeks if we had to. Now, with that said, we don't like doing that because it does put a lot of stress on our families and the workload around us, and sometimes we can accommodate that. But typically, we would like, just for the financing aspect, if everything, once you find a house from the time we close, we would prefer 30 days. And but if something comes up where you have to be sooner, if you let us know from the beginning and communicate that from the beginning, then we could put the wheels in place from the very beginning and get you in your house earlier if need be. But the only way I can do it is if I have a good team to back me up, which I do, and that's why it's very important to have a good real estate agent who can get you what you need quickly and a good processing and underwriting and closing team behind me. So.
And of course, this applies for everywhere, right? In the United States.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I ask?
Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to ask a quick question, Errol, Deanna. By the way, full disclosure, I'm the person that Deanna wanted to work with. And when I met her, she said, I have wanted to support military for years. So this was such a perfect fit. She's had a heart to support military families for a long time with the dream of home ownership. So it was a perfect fit for her and I. But Michael and Errol, how did you get involved with MHAF, and what drew you to it?
Well, I've been on board with MHAF from the planning stages. I am actually business partners with the partners who founded the organization, and it was one of those things where he sat down and said, "Okay, guys, I've this great idea. It's an awesome foundation that could be here 100 years from now. It could be our legacy." So we were kind of like, "Okay, what do you have for us now?" And he gave us the idea, and my thoughts were, well, it only makes sense. And I'm not from this country, so to hear that idea that I'm going to get the opportunity to give back in such a huge way, I was all for it. And the Canadian partner said, well, yeah, my wife, my daughter, yes, of course. So we fully were behind it, and from the planning stages, from exactly how it would work, we did all our research, got an awesome team on it, and yeah, so I've been there since the day one, the launch, all the way through till now. And I've been there. We have a lot. We have about 600 agents nationwide, everywhere, every state, every city. We have helped. We have agents in the backwoods of West Virginia. Believe it or not, we have agents everywhere.
Lloyd.
And we, Lloyd.
Yes.
Lloyd.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So, but we have agents everywhere, and we've put together an awesome team of lenders. And I'll say, Michael, I feel. Well, I was gonna give Michael the utmost kudos, but maybe I'm not supposed to do it like that. But maybe it's a personal preference. But so I've been there from day one, and I've seen this company grow from the first client that called in to where we are today, helping dozens every month, and it's a good feeling.
Okay, and could I help answer the second part of that question for Errol? As far as the how me and Errol got connected, I remember a couple of years ago a phone call from somebody who had worked in my office saying, "Hey, there's somebody who wanted to speak to you. I want you guys to talk about an opportunity of helping military families and get into house." And at first I thought, this is just another company trying to look for my money to buy leads or something like that. So we spoke the first time, and I heard it, and I thought it was a great idea, but it just sounded too good to be true. I was like, I haven't heard of you guys before, and since I haven't heard of you, it doesn't exist. And that was kind of my mentality. And then some months later, we spoke again, and I said, you know what, let's just give this a shot. I mean, just test it out and see how it is. And honestly, I've done hundreds of transactions with them, and I've never ever heard anything bad. Everybody calls back when the loan closes and like, this was a great experience. And are we still there?
Yeah, you're still there. Go ahead.
Okay, good. And that was a great experience, and that they loved working with Errol, and everything that was everything that they said they were going to get, they did, and that's kind of how we met.
Hello.
That's how we got together and started working together.
Well, and this question, it's more or less tongue in cheek, but I know somebody's going to ask, or somebody would ask. I would probably ask. Is any of this retroactive? I mean, I bought my house a couple of years ago, and
no, it's not.
You don't know. You don't know if you don't know. Okay.
If that was the case, believe me, we've been asked that on a daily basis. I say 100 people calling asking that, or send emails on a daily basis. Now, if that was the case, I mean, goodness, would there be millions of people calling us saying, "Hey, I purchased a house 5 years ago. Can I get some money?"
Right.
No.
And I do say that tongue in cheek only because, but there are people that say, "Well, gosh, I just missed it if I had known about it," and quite rightfully so. I mean, as in life, sometimes we always find out stuff at the end.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I can tell you this much though: it's not for first-time home buyers only.
Okay. Oh, it's not for first-time home buyers only. Okay. Well, that's
no,
good.
It's
interesting.
not.
So we make it simple. Just go buy another home.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Buy a second home.
It's what I want to do.
Not the first time. Because I mean, if you've purchased, when you look at it from this point of view, you live in Oklahoma right now, and you get PCS to California. I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't help you purchase your home in your new base. There's no reason for that, none. So it's not just for first-time home buyers.
Huh. Okay.
Wonderful.
All right. Now I do have a question. And, as all of us that are homeowners or have been or will be or whatever, that is probably one of the, although some cars match it, it's probably one of the biggest financial commitments that we have. And you know what? And I wish I had a drum roll. I'm going to have to find a drum roll. But Bonnie has resources for us. And so it's time for Bonnie's Resource Moment, brought to you by Bonnie Corley. How's that? Was that okay?
That was great. I thought that was pretty good. I thought that was pretty good.
We need to can that for all future shows. Bonnie, can you recover from that?
Well, that was pretty impressive, Lloyd. That's impressive.
Bonnie, I think we lost her.
Well, they're having some phone difficulties in there.
Okay.
They're having a few phone difficulties. I've called them back once. They've called me back once. I'm showing that they're online, but could be in their microphones. Maybe if they just picked up the phone and spoke.
Can you hear us?
Oh, there now. See,
there
pick up the phone and speak.
Bonnie, did you hear your drum roll,
okay.
Bonnie?
You caught us eating donuts. No, we just couldn't hear you guys. First, I'd like to say a huge thank you to Errol and Michael and Deanna for supporting our military service members and our families. You guys are a wonderful resource, not only with helping with the home ownership, but encourage the financial planning and debt reduction is amazing. So thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
Also, we'd like to let folks know to please utilize your financial, your military life consultants. They're a wealth of knowledge and resources. Military One Source has some great resources from planning, how to understand your credit score and how it affects you in the future. And then another great one is militarysaves.org. And they have resource kits that are just amazing. Home ownership for military families, and then other things that help get you there. 5 fast and easy ways to reduce your monthly bills. Step by step on, how to make a plan to be able to get to where you can own a home and head in that direction. So there's a lot of great resources. We just found another awesome one. So things are looking great for future homeowners.
Thank you. I just want to say I love Military Saves. I learned so much on Military Saves. Just FYI. I'm just going to say, hey, to Military
I added
Saves.
it to my favorites, Beth. I was amazed on all the things that, practical things that you can use and put into place.
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
So sounds like our listeners have a little bit of homework if they're wanting to purchase some homes. Maybe look at your own credit scores. If it's not that great, there are some great websites that Bonnie's given us as resources today to maybe, like you said, get us on your way to being that homeowner for the first time or again. Just a question to our 3 guests. Are there any particular cases that maybe stand out in your mind that you kind of want to share with us before we start our closing?
Well, yes and no. I have one that this is where a veteran wasn't able to qualify to purchase a home. He had the credit score, he was employed, but his debt was a little bit too high. And when we look at, we evaluate somebody's credit, we evaluate their income and their job stability, and we see how much debt they have, and we basically divide their debt into their income. And if that number is too high, you can't qualify. But VA actually allows you to pay off debt and actually allows the seller to use some of the seller's closing costs to pay down your debt. to help qualify, and it's the only program out there that does that. So let's just say you have a bill, a mattress or a Military Star account, and you owe a few $1,000s on it, and your payment's $200 a month, and that $200 a month is what's putting your debt ratios too high. We can use some of the seller's money that they've contributed towards closing costs to pay that debt off or pay it down, and then lose that debt. And now your debt ratios are all in line. And we've had some clients that have come to us where we were like, the debt ratio is too high, and we were able to work through the closing costs through the help of the real estate agent getting the seller to cover closing costs. We were then diverted some of that money to cover the debt, to pay off the debt in some cases for the veteran, and now the veteran's qualified to buy the house.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that deal was in Florida. I think that client was in Florida, right, Michael?
Correct, yes.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, that was a good one. I personally love the Beth and Scott Wirewood's transaction. It was a great transaction. I mean, when she came to us, like she said earlier. I mean, but when Michael said yes and no, it's just that there are so many hundreds of transactions, and every situation is different. They're different. You love a little something different. Me personally, I love a little something different about every single one. The transaction, the people, the joy, what they have to say after the fact, the whole process with them. But, so it's hard to say any one, but just to choose one. We're here, Scott and Beth Wyruth. I mean, when I first spoke with them, they were just, I mean, disheartened is what comes to mind, but it's not necessarily disheartened. It's discouraged maybe a little bit. And it's just the process has been strenuous, it's been tedious, and she's kind of like, well, really want to buy a house, credit is great, and so on, but we've been through this, we've been going through that, and we started talking. And then we had an agent that was going to be the person working with them, but in just conversation, she mentioned a lady called Deanna Raber, and if I know who this person is, I said no. But she said, if I know who this person is, and this person has a heart for military, and et cetera, et cetera. Spoke a while, and I said, oh, okay. And it was that day or the next night, an email came in from Deanna saying, I'm an agent in this area. I love what you guys do. Would love to be a part of your network. So after speaking with her, she said, I've heard about your program. An agent that was working with your program a year and a half ago told me about it. And so I called in, but I couldn't get on board because we're very dedicated to our relationships with our agents. If you have a turf, if you're working Denver, Colorado, and you're the agent, we just don't saturate your turf. We don't just put a bunch of agents. First of all, we have to train them, so we really don't want all that work anyway. But after speaking with Deanna, like I said, we have hundreds of agents, and I've been responsible for bringing on quite a few of those. There's something you can tell just from speaking with someone. Her heart was just in the right place in so many ways. All she could talk about is that saying, don't ask what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Deanna pretty much just asked, what can I do for you guys? What can I do to help these military families? She never asked about, she seemed so selfless with regards to her approach, trying to be in her network. And after the endorsement that we got from Beth, it was kind of obvious that I'd be crazy not to allow this person to be in our network. So I thought, well, this client already knows her and would like to work with her, but would be okay if she didn't work with her because of the guidelines of the program. So I got it to happen, called Deanna and said, so you're going to be in our network and you're going to be the one working with Beth. And you'd think she won the lottery. It's just one client. It's just one transaction. But the way she responded to that, you'd have thought, and I thought, wow. I'm thinking, how can I clone this person and put her in 10 more states? And then I spoke with Beth and said, Beth, so Deanna is going to be your agent. And she said, really? How did you do that? And I said, well, hey, I think it's the right thing to do. Let's see what happens. And here we are today. So this stands out in my mind. And it's just a pleasure working with our military families. But Beth and Scott Wyruth, I'll say that I feel honored is the word that comes to mind, honored.
And I do too. And on their transaction, when we wrote our offer, we did get Fannie Mae to approve 3% buyer closing cost credit. So that way we could limit how much money they had to come in with, and I think you've heard the rest of the story there for how they got money back and everything. That's just the way it happens with military housing assistance fund. That's what it's set up to do. It's set up to help the military buyers and their families not put money into their transaction to get their dream home.
It's just a fantastic program. Just a fantastic program.
Mhm.
We're glad you guys feel that way, because that's how we feel too.
And when Michael said it sounds too good to be true, I mean it does. It's just amazing. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's true, and we live this every day, and I go to bed sleeping great at night, just from some of the stories that I hear that day, it's a great feeling. Yes.
Yeah,
I just have to jump in. My husband's walking through the kitchen. He works from home. He's walking through the kitchen. I'm sitting here blubbering, crying, and he's shaking his head. Oh, he's at it again. Because it's hard to believe that I'm in a home that I own. So thank you again. We're getting to the end as Lloyd's queuing up that music. But first, I want to say, Errol, Michael, Deanna, thank you, not just for our miracle, but for the just hundreds of military families that you have helped. On behalf of all of us, thank you. And would you just give your contact information one more time for any listeners who would like, again, to make contact with you and see if maybe their miracles can come true, too?
Okay, yeah, we are offering our services to military, guard, reserves, and veterans, and the civilian employees of the military. The number for Military Housing Assistance Fund is 720-932-8049, and the website is www.us, M as in mom, H as in Harry, A as in apple, F as in Frank.org. Again, www.usmhaf.org.
And it's really important, I think, to point out that these funds don't necessarily have to be paid back, correct?
Oh, they never have to be paid back under any circumstances ever, and the services are absolutely free.
And the services are free also. See, that's just fantastic, just fantastic. Well, I tell you what, you all have just given us a wealth of information. I know I'm going to be getting the information out to people, and from my side, from the Survivor Outreach Services Office side, to the families that have gone through so much, and sometimes they just need that little bit of help. It's been fantastic, just a fantastic organization. Beth, you did a great job, and Tracy, and I know everybody's got something to say. You got 3 minutes.
Well, I could just put out there, too, if anybody has any questions about financing or any questions, even if you're not in the market for purchasing a home, you could reach out to me, and I'll be a wealth of knowledge. I love helping out. I was a veteran myself for 12 years, so I would definitely love to help you guys. Our phone number where I can be reached is 253-249-2882. Again, 253-249-2882. And my email address is just my first initial of my first name, M for Michael, and my last name, DiMarata. D as in David, E as in Edward, M as in Mary, O as in Ocean, R as in Robert, A as in Adam, T as in Tom, O as in Ocean, and that's at primelending.com, PRIME lending.com.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you for joining us today.
And I am Deanna, a real estate agent in Lemoore Naval Air Station area. What I would have you do is go through Errol at Military Housing Assistance Fund, and he will send you to me or to the appropriate agent that handles your area where you are looking for your home.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Deanna.
Lots of information, man. All right.
Yes.
All right. Tracy?
All right, this is Jennifer signing off.
Jennifer, there you are. Hi, Jennifer. I missed you. Dadgum. That's why Jennifer's there. Tracy? Bonnie?
Oh, we lost it there. They have to pick up the phone again.
I know. They're not paying any attention to us. Well, Beth, thank you so very, very much. It's been a fantastic day. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful day. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, we're all here in this great country of ours. Say special prayers for all of our service members, all of our first responders, and all of our families. Thank you all so very, very much. God bless everybody. Go out and have a wonderful day and say thank you to somebody. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, Beth.
Well, this is On Guard in Oklahoma on Blog Talk Radio. My name is Lloyd Smith, and I'm with the Survivor Outreach Services Office. You all go out and have a great, great day out there, everybody. Bye-bye.